I think the easiest way is to just dive straight into this. I'm not even going to introduce myself. I might do that next week, I don't know. I'm just this time going to rant and ramble, because I think that way I might actually get a video down. That'd be a start. So this is about my New Year's resolution. I only have one at the minute, and it is to finish all of my WIPs by the end of Finish It February, because I think it might take that long. I was going to do January, and then I thought, I don't know, actually it might take till February. If I can get them done before February, I'll treat myself to a new cast on. But I think if I can finish 4 items by then I will stop feeling the pressure of having this basket of WIPs in a growing pile in the corner of my wardrobe that are just breathing down my neck all the time, which is how I feel at the minute. And I've had a nice break over Christmas. I've kind of cleansed my palette. I went home and saw my parents, so I couldn't take lots of projects, and it felt nice to just have one thing to be working on. I think that's relaxing. I know some people get bored or they feel stifled if they haven't got options, but I think I only need 2 to feel kind of in my element. So I'm going to do a run through. We're going to do WIP roundup, and I'm going to try and make a list of the order in which I'm going to tackle them based on achievability. I don't know if that's a word. Oh well. And now I only have 6 WIPs, which I know for a lot of people is not very many, because some people might have 30 and some people might have 2, and that might be too many. But it's important to know that regardless of the number, because I know that's very different for different people, this is the point where, this is the number of WIPs for me where they are starting to linger in the back of my mind and make me feel stressed about knitting. So I think it's time to do something about that and just tidy up, have a New Year's clear out, and then I can make room for the new projects that I want to work on this year. I think I'm going to do this in the order in which I'm going to tackle them. And the first one is very obvious because I have maybe 5 rows left. This is gorgeous yarn from Noro. It's Noro Ito in, I think the shade is Taksaki. It's number 54. And this was a Christmas present actually from my dad. It's a great present. Which I have made a step-by-step sweater by Florence Miller. I do know who wrote the step-by-step sweater. I just haven't read the pattern for so long. Yeah, it is Florence Miller. Excellent. And I did actually have to buy it, so I got 2 balls of yarn for Christmas, and I bought a 3rd one myself because it's chicken, do you know? But actually now we've got 1 sleeve, whole body, 2 sleeve, and I'm actually missing maybe 5 rows of ribbing and then just the rolled bind off. So I think actually I'm going to finish this today because I have my craft club later. So I'm going to take this to craft club and I'm going to finish it because it'll just be so refreshing to have it done. And this has been a really quick project as well. This was like 10 days maybe, without waiting for yarn to be delivered in the middle. But I always finish these step-by-step sweaters really, really quickly. And they're just really, it's a great pattern, what can I say? It's just so, not even as a beginner, I've been knitting now for apparently 5 years. I cheated myself and I thought it was 3. I don't know why, I just erased 2 years of knitting from my memory. Maybe I didn't make anything valuable in that time, and everything I did make is probably now in the bin. So maybe that's why. But anyway, apparently my first project was 2020, so I've done 5 years of knitting, and I only found this pattern this year as well. But I even think for an experienced knitter, it's a great option because you don't need to be buying top-down raglan patterns. You know, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I think she also has a YouTube tutorial, which I've not seen, but apparently that's very good if you're a new knitter and you don't particularly know how to read patterns. But I think it does talk you through how to read the pattern, and the pattern is very well written as well and has a lot of information on choosing yarns and gauge swatching and choosing sizes and measurements and all of this. It's class. So this will be my first finished object. And then hopefully I can have this washed and blocked by the weekend. Look at the colours. The colours are my favourite. Hang on, I need to get it better. The colours in this are just my favourite. It's got this, I don't know, I think with Noro, sometimes some of their colourways are a bit muddy, which is not me, but this is just the best kind of combination of all the colours in something that's not necessarily like in your face rainbow, which I don't know if I would wear that either. But anyway, so this should be the first FO of 2025 if everything goes to plan. And then hopefully in the next podcast, I don't know how often I'm going to make a podcast. I'm going to be honest. I'm hoping for it to be every month. It might be every 3 weeks. We'll see. I'm not promising anything. But in the next podcast, I should have this finished and ready to wear. Which would be great, because then I only have 5 things left. Now, my next project is one that I chose to use up all of my scraps from 2024. And I did this last year as well, at the end of 2023, and I made a whole project with all of the yarn that I'd had left over from projects in the year, which is nice because it's kind of like a little catalogue of everything that you've made with like little pieces of each. And they're always scrappy projects, but that's fine because I like that, and I like being able to choose my colours really carefully, and I just think they're fun, and they do fly. So for this year's scrap busting 2024 calendar project, I'm doing the Kaleido cardigan by Rose Knitwear, which I've already started because I got a bit carried away when I bought the pattern. And so far, this is what mine is looking like. She has some really nice photos of different ones on her pattern website, but I think it's just fun to use what you've got left and, you know, kind of create your own colour combinations instead of buying yarn for the project. And I think this is going to be a really hefty cardigan. It needs something with like 1,400 meters of yarn. I don't know how it can possibly fit that much in it, but I think it's going to be huge. But I have already started it, so I think if I move on to that next, when I finish this one, then it'll be, you know, kind of easier to pick it up and get stuck into it. The only thing with this is I find the colourwork, doing two-stranded colourwork, a bit tiring. So sometimes I need a break with a plainer project, and I'm going to choose a different one to do on the side. But I'm hoping to have this done at the beginning of the year so that I can kind of leave all of last year's yarn behind. Because currently this, before it was a project basket, was my scraps basket from last year, and it's very full. And I need to make room for all of the scraps that I'm going to accrue this year, which I imagine will be a lot, but we'll see. And I think this is a new release as well. This was just released, I want to say in December. It was not that long ago. But I did also get the Rose book for Christmas as part of a present. So I'm quite excited to go through that and find other Rose patterns to do, because I've made a couple of hers in the past, and just the way she uses stitches and colours and shapes are just so fun and cool, and I like a new stitch pattern every once in a while that's not just rib or garter or stocking, do you know? So I don't know, it's a fun experiment, and so far the fabric is actually really nice and squashy and chunky. I'm not doing it, I know mine is not to gauge because I was being frugal with my needles and I only had a 5mm needle, and I think the pattern calls for 5.5. So I just decided to knit a size bigger on a needle size smaller. I'll make it fit, be fine. But I also think some of the yarns that I have are not on gauge either, so it's probably best to use a smaller needle that's better suited to the yarns that are kind of, it calls for Aran, but I think a lot of mine are between worsted and then some are like DK held together and all that, so they're very different, but I think it'll work, we'll see. Sure, like, what can you not block out at the end of the day? You fix everything just by washing it and pinning it, it'd be great. Oh, I actually forgot to get my current WIP. That's what I'm going to do while I'm doing this one. These two, because my next WIP, one second. This one currently resides in the basket next to my sofa, which is the one I reach for the most. And I think while I'm doing the Kaleido cardi, I'm also going to finish this cardi, because this is nearly done. And this is actually one that I started just before Christmas and then got carried away with the Noro. And then I stopped and then I went back to it. I need it gone. Because I'm really looking forward to wearing it as well. Now this here is a traveller's cardigan by Ozetta, which is a really nice pattern that I made once, completely off gauge with the wrong yarn. It pilled, it stretched, it faded, it was too small. I put it in the bin after maybe 3 months, I don't know. So I have made this pattern once, but I don't own anything in this pattern at the minute. But this one is definitely a keeper. This is West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft Aran, and some mohair, which is just, it's a really nice yarn. And it's not cheap, but it's worth it because it's just really squashy and good quality. And they don't have masses of colours, but the selection they do have is quite nice. And there's some kind of, not variegated, but like almost tweedy looking yarns. And then they do these monocolour as well. So this is all I have left, is this much of a sleeve, which is most of a sleeve, but it shouldn't be too long because I have already done the other sleeve. And it's on 6mm needles, so it's quite quick. And I think when I finish the Noro today, I'm going to move on to this one, and I'm going to do that simultaneously with the Kaleido cardi. I'm going to do both the cardis at the same time. I think that'd be more sensible. Because there's something about knitting cardigans back and forth that means I don't necessarily reach for them. So I think while I'm in the cardi spirit, it's best to just do them both. And then I don't end up finishing one project that I'm not intending to, just because it's circular, which would be what I did if I were to start a jumper or whatever. So this one is gonna go as number 3, but it will probably be number 2 finished because I have so little of it to do. And then I'm hoping after that that the Kaleido cardigan will be the next one. Let me just get all my baskets out the way. Oh God. Right. The next WIP has been haunting me for months. I don't know how long I've been working on this. I can check actually, I have my ravel right here, hang on. When did I cast it? August. The 5th of August I started this. And it's my own fault. I don't fault the pattern at all. It's the Cloud Blouse by Petite. It is what it is, do you know. I fancied the shape and I thought, it's just Petite, like what can you do? What's wrong with it? Nothing. But I chose such a bad yarn. And I'm really gutted because I think it would have been quite a quick project if I hadn't. But the problem is, this is how much I have so far. I've got the body and, well, I've got the yoke and I've got half the body. I have no sleeves. But this yarn is 2 strands of drops brushed alpaca silk, which is great and it has a really nice texture to it. I've got a shade, I think I've like a dark pink heather and then a pale pink held together to make this kind of like tweedy pink combination. And the fabric looks great and it feels great when it's been worked up. It's got a lot of stretch, it's very soft. I don't know how it'll wear, but then it's just a blouse, so I don't know. We'll see how much I wear it. But the problem is when you're working with this, the core of the yarn is silk, I'm pretty sure, or some kind of variation of silk. And it means that it has no stretch. And for the same reason that I hate working with just mohair, it's really tight. My tension is really tight with this. And I think because the yarn has no give, it doesn't help. And that's why I've not been reaching for it, because it is very exhausting to knit. And it's on 4mm needles or something, but it's just so hard on your hands that it takes a long time to get any kind of length, which is why it feels like it's been taking forever. But to be honest, I have abandoned I've abandoned this and I've started a lot of new projects since I started this. So it's also my own fault. But I'm thinking this will be WIP number, what number are we on? 4 in my list. And then hopefully it'll be out of my hair, because I really want to wear it. And that's the sad thing. But it's kind of, you know, it's January now. And if I don't finish it by March, it's gonna be, I'm not gonna have much time to wear it. So that's the next one. I have all the yarn for it. I have the needles. I just need to do it. I need to stop chickening out and starting new things, which are more exciting, more enjoyable, and I just need to finish it. Because it should have been so easy. Now, I'm a little bit in a debate about which way round to do the last two, because I have a project which I have all the yarn for, and then I have a project which I need to buy more yarn for. Although the one that I need to buy yarn for is just a slipover, so it's far more achievable, I think, than the full jumper, which is my other project. These might be subject to change. I think I'm gonna leave both of them to last, just because I kind of don't mind having these going on at the same time as one other project. So if they take me a little bit longer, I think that's okay. Oh, dominoes. The project which I need to buy yarn for is the Roosty tank top. Who is that by? See, if I was a pro, I would have all this information in front of me. But I actually just have to sort through my Ravelry like a maniac. Ella Gordon, who's a really great designer, and she does amazing Fair colourwork designs. And I think, I actually haven't got much on this done so far. I bought, I think, one of every colour that I needed, because I was doing it when I was bored or something, I don't even know. Or I didn't want to splurge on buying all the yarn. Can't remember, it was too long ago now. When did I start this? August. Yeah. Summer. I must have just been really bored. And it's a really nice Fair Isle colourwork pattern, which I think will turn out really nicely in a slipover. I'm a bit worried about size. I haven't seen it off the needles yet, and my needle cable is too narrow for the circumference of the body. So it feels like it could turn out big. I'm hoping not. Or I'll just make it work, whatever. But the problem is that I only bought one of every colour, and I have run out of the colour which is most used. So I need to go and do another shop for the rest of the yarn for this before I can do any more work on it. At the minute it's hibernating because I have literally used the entire ball of one colour that I really need. So I just haven't bought any more. The yarn, however, is Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight, which is really nice actually. And I hadn't used Jamieson & Smith before I started this. I'd only used Jamieson's of Shetland, similar but different, their Spindrift. And I'd say it's comparable to that, but this is a little bit softer, I think. Maybe it's just because it's been quite worn. But they have such an amazing colour selection as well, so it's a great yarn. I just need to get on and order more because there's not a yarn shop near me that sells it. Anyway, excuses. I feel like this one may be last. I might treat myself to some more yarn for this when I've finished at least 2/3 of my list. That might be a good option. And so, item number 6. Have I done that right? Item number 6. Yeah, I think so. The last thing I'm going to finish is this sweater number 26 by My Favourite Things Knitwear, of which I have already knit one, and I love it. I knit it in 2023 in a kind of green stripe, and it was class. But this is a very interesting yarn to me, and it's also the reason that this is something that it was an impulsive yarn purchase, so it wasn't really a project I had planned, and that's probably why I've not finished it. I have the yoke done, which is really time consuming in this pattern. So I'm glad that that's over, because I think there's a point where you have like 400 stitches on the needles, I think, when you're getting to the end of these saddle shoulder increases. So that's a little bit much. It takes a very long time. But now I'm on the body. I've done a few rounds of the body, not that much, but it should go a lot quicker now. I just put this off because I was trying to finish other things. But honestly, it's not a bad piece to work on. It's very easy. It's stuck in it. It's just... it is what it is. The yarn for this... Oh my god. I've pulled stitches off the cord. Honestly. No, I'll tell you what. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to fix it after. If I put it down gently. Just do not fall. I'm going to fix that afterwards. It's fine. It's only like 10 stitches. I just need to get the needle to thread them back on. The yarn for this was actually bought at a market near me that I went to, I think it was in September. And it was from a stall called Tools for Solidarity, who were selling dead stock yarn that had been donated to them. They're a charity, by a sock factory which closed down. And so I was rooting through all of these big crates of yarn. It was like, I just love scavenging. So it was kind of my dream, actually. I shouldn't have bought it because I didn't need it, but it's really great quality Shetland yarn, and it's a really nice kind of tweedy... Oh, I don't want to pick this up because it's going to fall off. No, I'll do that later. It's a nice kind of 2-ply fingering weight, but with each ply is a different colour. So there's a white and a black twist. I think that's the best way to describe it. I don't know. But this is a dead stock yarn, so I think it's from the 80s, looking at the label on the cone. And when I got it home, I scoured it and skeined it up and washed it, and to kind of get all of the 40 years of grub off it, which was much needed because it's actually now quite pleasant to work with, whereas before it was there was a lot of spinning oil in it, and it was very coarse and just dusty and dirty because it had been in an abandoned factory for God knows how long. But it's also really warm, so I'm really keen to finish it while the weather is still cold. And if not, I'll wear it next year. And to be honest, where I live, it's cold all the time. So I think I'm going to leave that one to last because it has the most work to be done on it. But it's also a nice, relaxing project, and I kind of have no need to get it over and done with. Because it's something that I think I cast it on in maybe October, but I haven't really done hours and hours of work on. So it just feels like I've had enough of a break from it that I'll enjoy going back to it when I have less on my plate. So I think that's the plan. I'm going to have these 6 projects, and I am not casting on anything new between now and when I've finished some of them. 4 of them. I'm going to finish 4 of them, and then I'm going to cast on something new. And then I'm going to keep the other ones going in the background because they're just less urgent. I always have more than one thing on at once, but I just need fewer than I currently have to feel relaxed. I'm going to try and check in this month when I finish things and do a little update if I don't manage to finish anything for whatever reason. I definitely, actually looking back, having looked at the amount of work that I've got to do, I think February might be too soon. But, oh well, we'll see. And then hopefully I'm going to make another video this month with some plans for the year. Just to sort of give myself something to look back to whenever I'm wanting a bit of inspiration. It's not even necessarily a list of patterns, but my Ravelry queue at the minute is maybe 20 projects long, so I think I could, you know, get those a bit more organised and think about what I really want to make and I really want to wear and the time of year and all of that. Where I am, seasonal knitting doesn't really exist because I go on holiday maybe once a year to somewhere where it's more than 20 degrees. And here, it is rarely more than 20 degrees. So I can pretty much always wear knitwear, even in the summer. But you know, I might do some like springtime things in cotton or whatever. I'll talk about it then. So I think that's all. I'm gonna go away now and I'm gonna crack on with my first finished object of the year to be. And then I'm gonna gather my energy and proceed with my WIP spring cleaning. So wish me luck. Thank you for listening, if you made it to the end. I don't know how long this will be. Probably not the longest. But it's long enough of me wittering. And yeah, hopefully I will see you in a few weeks' time.